Hi, this is Gia Fontanos from second year Foxtrot, and I am presenting SLR camera. Single lens reflex camera or SLR. A single lens reflex camera is a camera that typically uses a mirror and prism system that permits the photographer to view the lens and see exactly what will be captured. With twin lens reflex and rangefinder cameras, the viewed image could be significantly different from the final image. Focusing ring. This is a section of the lens that rotates to allow the photographer to focus the image. On automatic cameras, this ring is moved by a small motor within the lens whenever you press the shutter release button halfway down. For manual focus, you will turn the ring until the image comes into focus. Aperture ring. The aperture ring is a collar on the camera that can be rotated to increase or decrease the aperture. The effect is letting more or less light in respectively. The convenient part about aperture settings is that the amount of light taken into the camera at a particular settings will be equal across different lenses. Viewfinder. Camera component that shows the photographer the area of the subject that will be included in a photograph. In modern cameras, it usually part of direct or range finder focusing system and may also be used to display exposure, settings, or meter information. Flash hat shoe. Many SLRs come outfitted with a flash hat shoe on top and in the center of the camera body. The hat shoe is a small area surrounded by two metal or plastic grooves with a small circle sensor in the middle. These sensors help the flash and the camera communicate so you can make proper exposure with an attached flash. Shutter speed or ISO. The SLR cameras contains a shutter that determines how long the light enters the camera. It controls whether moving objects will appear sharp or blurry. Basic SLRs have a shutter speed dial on top of the camera body, marked with numbers that can range from 1 to 1000, representing the fractions of a second. Depth of field review. Depth of field or DOF is the distance between the closest objects and the farthest objects in an image that are in focus and have level of acceptable sharpness. Depth of field will keep your foreground and background in focus. The automatic exposure lock. The AEL, or also known as AE lock, is a function that can be used when you want to reframe the scene but keep the current exposure from changing. It allows the camera to maintain the same brightness between shots. The AEL function is useful when shooting a number of pictures that you want to stitch together later in a panorama. Shutter release button. The shutter release button works just like its counterpart on a point-and-shoot camera. When you press it all the way down, the camera makes an exposure. Older cameras also have a film advance lever that moves the film into place for the next exposure. You cannot make another exposure before pushing it forward. New SLRs automatically advance the film for you. Film rewind crank. The film rewind crank allows the photographer to reel film back into its container once all exposures have been shot so that the film can be developed.